Madam Clerk, please call the roll. Take the roll.
Mr. Chairman, you have 14 members present. You have a quorum.
Thank you, Madam Clerk. We do have a quorum. Members, any personal orders? Representative Bain, sorry.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. I'd just like to recognize a friend, Varys Taylor, who's here shadowing me today. So please give him a warm welcome. Thank you so much.
Any other personal orders? Chairman Todd.
Thank you. And I have two folks from Union University shadowing me today, and I may have, in the previous committee, had the wrong name. I think I said Haley's mom's name, who I've known for a long time, but Haley Aldridge and Lane Pyron, both from Union University. Haley's from Jackson and Lane is from Memphis. So welcome them today.
Of course. Any other personal orders? Representative Stevens.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. I have a job shadow with me today, Carter Jameson from Rutherford County. He's with the Tennessee Eagle Forum, and please make him feel welcome.
Any others? Seeing none, on a personal note, I do have some people from Leadership Cleveland Bradley County Chamber of Commerce. That may be them coming in the room now. We had a wonderful evening last night, enjoyed dinner together. And they're touring the Capitol today and spending some time in the legislature observing your government in action. So please help me welcome Leadership Cleveland Bradley County as they enter the room. Members, we have 8 bills to consider today. This should be our last calendar. That's the intent. But first, item number 5, House Bill 655 is taken off notice. It has been calendared 3 times, so as a result, it will be returned to the clerk's desk. Roll to the special calendar. I've been corrected. We'll begin with item number 1, House Bill 69. Leader Lamberth is at the podium, and you are recognized. We have a motion and a second.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. There should be an amendment coded 4931 that's traveling with the bill.
Yes.
And then I have another amendment to add on today.
These, I've been told that these are added by state and local. We don't consider them. They're
So
just
both of
traveling
them,
with the bill.
5586 and 4931, we're traveling with. Yes, sir, Mr.
you're
Chairman.
traveling with the bill.
Then, Mr. Chairman, as amended, what the bill does is very straightforward. It creates a portal through the Secretary of State's office that would check someone's past history, both criminal history and immigration status, and before they're able to register to vote, would actually prevent them from committing a crime. And so this had happened to some folks in my district where they went down, registered to vote. Unfortunately, they were not allowed to be able to do so. They should not have done so. In their instance, they were convicted felons. They had not had their rights restored, but there's just a box they check. And so one of these gentlemen had a conviction 30 years before, and quite frankly, just thought at some point he had gotten his rights restored. He was wrong. And so now he's been convicted of a new crime. I did not handle his case. Another lawyer did. But I thought, man, why do we not have something that blocks that at the very beginning? Like instead of somebody getting in trouble afterwards, and by coincidence, and I told this in one of the other committees, during that same time period where this gentleman and 14 other people that we know of were convicted felons that should not have been voting, we had a tie vote at a county commission race in our district, and the county commission had to break that tie. Now, I can't tell you that any one of those 15 individuals voted in that particular district, but you should never have someone voting that is not allowed to vote. We should only have folks that are U.S. citizens that are not convicted felons or have had their voting rights restored. So that's what this does. It just sets up the process to hopefully head that off at the pass.
Members, you've heard the explanation from the sponsor. Any questions? Are we ready to vote? Please open the voting board, Madam Clerk. All in favor, cast your vote for yes. All opposed, say no. Has every member voted? Anyone wish to change their vote? Madam Clerk, please take the vote.
Mr. Chairman, you have 18 ayes, 1 nay.
Ayes have it. Mr. Leader, your bill goes to finance.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman, members of the committee. I hope they're half as kind to me as y'all have been. Thank
It's
you.
always good to see you. Thank you very much. Moving on to item 2 by Travis, House Bill 816. We have a motion and second, Representative Travis, and I believe we do have an amendment on your bill.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. Yeah, you should have 5205 traveling with the bill.
We need to add this
Okay.
to the bill. We have a motion and a second on the amendment. All in favor say aye. Aye. All opposed, nay. Amendment is on the bill. Please explain your bill as amended.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. The bill as amended states that no more than 4 points shall be accessed to a person's driver's license record on the offense of operating a vehicle while driving privileges canceled, suspended, or revoked. Currently, it's 8 points that they get, and that's like doing 150 down the interstate. And this bill does not alter the fine or punishment that can be assessed for driving on a suspended, revoked, or canceled license.
You've heard the explanation, members. Any questions for the sponsor? We ready to vote? Please open the voting board. Madam Clerk, if you're in favor, vote yes. If you're opposed, vote no. Everyone cast their vote. Madam Clerk, please take the vote.
Mr. Chairman, you have 20 ayes, 0 nays.
The ayes have it. Bill passes. Your bill goes to Finance. Representative.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman.
Thank you. Moving on to item number 3 by Representative Leatherwood. House Bill 197. We have a motion and a second, and you are recognized, sir. I believe we have an amendment. Is that right?
That is correct. Code 4391.
That is correct. We have a motion and a second on the amendment. All in favor of adding the amendment, say aye. Aye. All opposed, nay. Ayes have it. The amendment's on the bill. If you would please explain your bill as amended.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman, committee. This bill would require the Department of Transportation to develop and implement a policy for the removal of homeless people and personal property used for camping on dangerous locations on state and interstate highways.
You've heard the explanation, members. Any questions for the sponsor? Representative Towns, you're recognized.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. Mr. Representative, this has statewide application across the entire state.
That is correct.
Now, I've gotten information that says that there's obviously, people when they're in that predicament in their lives, that's a hard predicament for anyone to be in. You, me, or anyone that we know find themselves homeless. When we remove the people, where do they go? What happens with them at this point?
You're recognized.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. It does not specify where any individual will go, which, as you might imagine, I don't think we could pass any legislation to do that say this individual on this given day in County X at this overpass will be moved to location A. It does not do that. And I don't think it could do that. The bill does say the department shall, not may, but shall develop and implement the policy pursuant to this section through partnerships with municipal and county government, local law enforcement agencies, the Department of Safety. And this is where we get to the answer to your question, I believe. Local homeless coalitions, local and state housing authorities, other local and state agencies, nonprofit organizations, and other entities that provide transitional housing and related services to persons experiencing homelessness. So part of what we're trying to do is get the Department of Transportation up front to enter into, and that's really all this bill does, is to enter into a memorandum of understanding with those local governments, those local agencies, that cover whatever area the overpass or the location is in. And it might be helpful to you to go ahead and say the department shall develop and implement a policy regarding the shoulder, berm, or right-of-way of highways under its jurisdiction, under a bridge or overpass, or within an underpass of highways. And so these are the locations we're talking about.
Mr. Chairman.
Follow up?
Yes, sir. A couple, and I appreciate that. Obviously, something needs to be done.
Yes.
However, because it can be dangerous, it can be very dangerous, and not talking about the aesthetic aspect of it, but we can't leave people out. They're going to shift from one place to another. They're going to shift. They have to because they're trying to live, and people just not going to go away and die because they're homeless. They're going to try the best they can to live. So I would rather prefer seeing we have some alternatives for people that have find themselves in this predicament, many times because of drugs, many times because of a hospital bill, a healthcare bill, many times because of separation of family, a divorce. These are hard things, but these are real things that leaders have to try to grapple with and find a solution that's going to be best for all involved. And the most sensitive thing that I see is the human being that's involved in this particular deal. And I know your background in terms of how we want to serve the higher being. And I would think that we'd be able to figure some kind of way where we can have something that will address that aspect, not just toss them to the side and not have some way of addressing something. You said something about, I think you said something about affordable housing. In Nashville is becoming a city that is real expensive to live in. You know, I saw a report on television last year that you shouldn't even think about coming and living here if you don't make $75,000 a year. That's not a lot of money. And it's definitely not a lot of money in Nashville today. And the rent, one of my interns about 10 years ago, 12, 15 years ago, had an efficiency, $1,700 for an efficiency. Now for her, that's not as bad because she was from another part of the country where the rent was custom high, but she couldn't pay it. Her mom and daddy had to pay it. Okay, so people are forced out for whatever reason. I would like to see us figure out how we're going to deal with ensuring that they have a place to not really live, really kind of exist. Other thing, just in our city, your city and mine, we see it in Nashville. It's here. The major cities, you're going to see it. Downtown areas, the same thing. People are scrambling for their lives. I think the cost here, some of the costs I've gotten here, just to remove some of the cameras here can cost $475,000 with an additional $100,000 for fencing and stuff like that. It's expensive to move them. It costs money. Unfortunately, it costs money to do everything that we do today, but it costs a lot of money. And I would love to work with you on, because I agree something needs to be done because it can swell, get larger, this, that, and other. I'd love to work with you on trying to figure something that we can do that will address both concerns, really address both concerns, the human concern, the aesthetic concern that we have, the safety, all of it. I really would rather see something like that. And certainly across the state, and even in our city, it's becoming costing a lot of money to live and find a house. I mean, I run into the town hall meeting, people are telling you the rent is just too high. And it is, along with the groceries and everything else. Those are just some of my concerns that I'd love to see what you think about some of that and how we could address it.
You're recognized.
Thank you for those concerns, and I actually do share those concerns. And I think if we keep the proper perspective on this bill, frankly, I believe it's a bill that should come out of here unanimously with Republican and Democrat support. You know, this bill doesn't purport to solve all the homeless problems, to finance beds for everyone all across the street, wherever those may be needed. Frankly, we don't really know where all they would be needed either. But what this bill does do, I believe, is take a step in the right direction to help the lot in life, even if it's just a little bit, for the homeless. You know, this bill will set up a process to try and get the homeless the services they need. Right now, there's no one trying to coordinate, you know, local government, local law enforcement, a variety of these local agencies to step up and help these people. So again, the things you mentioned are real. This bill is never purported to solve the whole problem, but it will help link homeless people to that list of agencies and organizations that want to help them.
Representative Glenn.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. Sponsor, I'm sorry, I'm trying to hold my ice bag on my knee at the same time. So, Joe Towns won't even cut my grass, but that's okay. I have some issues with the bill because of this. From what I understand, homelessness most of the homeless folks are veterans. This bill to me just says TDOT removes them. I don't quite get why we're making TDOT develop a plan to remove homeless folks. But you say in coordination with local. If local hasn't already done something, that's because they don't have the facilities. We're taking a $64 million fiscal note and saying, let's have TDOT just remove them. I actually visited one of my homeless shelters about a month ago. This homeless shelter had been shut down for over 1.5 years because they didn't have the funds to fix the roof. Why can't we take the 64 million? Let's work on some of these homeless shelters across the state. And then guess what? I think we can move these homeless folks into these shelters if we provide them with the resources. Just kicking them off of the spot does not give them opportunity to get off the street. And then this bill says dispose of their personal property. That's cruel. That's all they have. That is cruel. And so I think we really need to think about this bill before we vote on it and ask ourselves, should we look at it more in depth and ask ourselves, can we do something different than to find $64 million for TDOT to take and across the state just kick folks off of these streets who have nowhere else to go? But we can take the 64 million and actually help build and restore these homeless shelters for these folks. I think that's where we should be looking. And again, as a veteran, I know that it's a problem. I know that this is something that we can do. And we can actually have our veteran caucus, our veteran folks across the state be a part of this. I know this because I'm right there at Fort Campbell. And we see it. We know it can happen. So I don't like the fact that we're taxing TDOT to let's just move these folks off of these specific roads, but we're not really doing anything to fix these homeless shelters when we could. Thank you, Mr. Chairman.
Thank you. Members, just a slight correction here for the record. With the amendment that was put on moments ago, the fiscal note has been removed and it's now non-significant. Would you like to respond, sponsor?
Yes, I would say we put an amendment on in the subcommittee last week and, apparently hadn't had the opportunity to read the amendment. The fiscal note is 0 on this bill as it's before you today and as it came out of subcommittee last week. And the bill doesn't just say Department of Transportation will move people and take their stuff. The bill actually does what I read to you just a minute ago. It says the department shall develop and implement policies, dealing with local governments, local law enforcement, local homeless coalitions, nonprofit organizations, entities that provide transitional housing and related services. That's what the bill actually does as it came out of subcommittee last week with this amendment and as it stands before you today. No fiscal note, and actually the Department of Transportation can't even go to clean up the site until there are no people left on the site. Hopefully by caring, loving, homeless organizations. So again, what this bill does is what I've read to you and what I said. This bill connects homeless people with the services that can help them improve their lot in life, if even just a little bit. That's what the bill, again, that came out of subcommittee last week with this amendment will do. Why are we throwing it on the Department of Transportation? Because the Department of Transportation is charged with the responsibility for the areas which I read to you just a minute ago. Shoulder, berm, right-of-way, highways, under a bridge, overpass, underpass. That's under the purview of the Department of Transportation.
Moving on down the list, Chairman Hawk, you recognize.
Thank you. Thank you, Chairman. And thank you, Chairman Leatherwood. I'm just going to make the points that you just made. I fear that some folks may be reading something into this legislation that's just not there. We're talking about collaboration. We're talking about safety. We're looking at areas that could be unsafe along our state highways and interstates that you mentioned, those locations. So I think we're talking about collaboration with this piece of legislation, getting individuals the help that they may not be getting right now, or they don't know where to turn right now. We're matching individuals up with services, and that's what this bill largely does. So thank you. I'll be voting for the bill. Thank you, Chairman. Thank you,
Thank
Chairman.
you. Moving on down the list, Representative Ashley. Pardon me? Question has been called. Are there objections? Seeing none, are we ready to vote on House Bill 197? Please open the voting board, please. If you're in favor, vote yes. If you're opposed, vote no. Madam Clerk, please take the vote.
Mr. Chairman, you have 15 ayes, 4 nays.
Ayes have it. Your bill goes to calendar and rules. Thank you, sir.
Thank you.
It goes to GovOps. I apologize. Goes to GovOps. Make it official. Moving on to item number 4, we have, oh, he's here. We were misinformed. I thought you were going to be absent, but Representative Reeves, you're recognized. Tell us about your bill.
Thank you, Mr. Chair. HB 749 prohibits recognition of out-of-state driver's licenses issued specifically to individuals unlawfully present in the United States, and the license has a marking that indicates that. It requires the Department of Safety to list such licenses publicly and makes it a Class B misdemeanor to drive with one, the same as driving without a license. This bill ensures only valid, lawful IDs are accepted on Tennessee roads. And with that, I'll take any questions.
You've heard the explanation of the bill. Any questions for the sponsor from the committee? Seeing none, are we ready to vote? Madam Clerk, please open the voting board. Do we have witness? I think the committee's ready to vote, so we'll go ahead and vote. All in favor if you're voting yes for the bill, or vote no against the bill. Madam Clerk, please take the roll.
Mr. Chairman, you have 16 ayes, 3 nays.
Ayes have it. Your bill passes to calendar and rules.
Thank you, Mr. Chair and committee.
Thank you. We've already dealt with item number 5. We'll move on to item number 6. Representative Harris, I believe, is carrying this bill. You can present from the desk there.
Thank you, Mr. Chair. Thank you, committee. And in the absence of Leader Camper, as it relates to House Bill 537, this bill comes from a friend of Senator Taylor. She and her friend were afraid to keep their registration in their car, in their glove compartments, and due to fear of constant car thefts. They were afraid that if someone were to steal their car, they could get their home address off of the registration. So what this bill would do would allow the car owners to keep their registration on an electronic device, and they will be able to use that instead of a paper copy to make sure it doesn't get in the hands of criminals. Law enforcement is okay with this, since we have put provisions in there that make sure that if they look at the copy and it is distorted or anything like that, that law enforcement doesn't necessarily have to accept it. It does give them options, and it has already passed the Senate 32-1. So with that, I would appreciate a favorable vote.
Okay, we need a motion and a second, which we just received, and also I need to add the amendment. What is your amendment code, sir?
Amendment Code 003706.
That is correct. All in favor of adding the amendment to the bill, say aye. Aye. All opposed, nay. Ayes have it. The amendment is on the bill. I believe you've explained the bill, so we'll ask the members if they have any questions. Seeing none, we're ready to vote. Madam Clerk, please open the voting board. Has everyone voted? Anyone wish to change their vote? Madam Clerk, please take the vote.
Mr. Chairman, you have 19 ayes, 0 nays.
All right, the ayes have it. Your bill goes to calendar and rules. Moving on to House Bill number 7, which happens to be my bill, so I'm going to pass the gavel to Vice Chairman Butler.
Thank you. Mr. Chairman, you're recognized on item number 7, House Bill 212.
Thank you, and I do have an amendment. Have a motion on the bill?
Would you like to add that amendment to your bill?
Yes. So what this amendment is a compilation of all the amendments enrolled into one by Legal Services.
You have a motion and a second on your amendment. We will add that amendment to the bill. Mr. Chairman, you're recognized on your bill.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. Members, this is the license plate omnibus bill that we have every year from transportation. There are 44, I believe, amendments in there that make up one big amendment that we just added. So I would ask passage.
Mr. Chairman, I need to go back and interrupt you just for a moment. We need to vote on that amendment. All those in favor of adding the amendment, please indicate by saying aye.
Aye.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. I apologize for that.
No problem.
Thank you.
Question has been called on the bill.
Question has been called. Madam Clerk, would you open the voting board? Please vote aye if you're for it. Madam Clerk, please report the vote.
Mr. Chairman, you have 19 ayes, 0 nays.
Thank you, Madam Clerk. Mr. Chairman, your bill moves on to finance.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman.
Mr. Chairman, you have item number 8, House Bill 213.
And I have, Mr. Chairman, I have 3 amendments to add to this bill.
Let's go ahead and add the first amendment to the bill.
That would be 6089.
Yes, that is correct. You have a motion and a second. Amendment, well, we need to vote on that. All those in favor of adding that amendment, please indicate by saying aye.
Aye.
Thank you. Mr. Chairman, your bill is amended.
And then I have House Amendment, Chairman's Amendment 6095.
Second. All those in favor of adding amendment number 2 to the bill, please indicate by saying aye.
Aye.
Amendment 2 has been added. Mr. Chairman, you're recognized on your third amendment.
All right. And this amendment is also, my amendment is 6211.
Thank you. All those in favor of adding this amendment to the bill, please indicate by saying aye. Mr. Chairman, your bill is amended with amendment number 3. You're recognized.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. This is the annual transportation omnibus bill for the naming of highways, roads, and bridges in the state of Tennessee. I believe with the 2 amendments that we added a moment ago, we're now up to 42, 43 amendments that actually rolled into one. And I would ask that those last 2 amendments, along with the other amendments, be rolled into one amendment as they move forward to the next committee. Mr. Chairman.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. We've had legal to roll all 3 of those amendments into one to simplify that. Thank you.
I would ask passage.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. Question has been called. Madam Clerk, if you would, open the board. All those in favor, please indicate by saying aye. Madam Clerk, please give us the vote.
Mr. Chairman, you have 18 ayes, 0 nays.
Mr. Chairman, your bill passes and moves on to finance.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. Our last item of business was the one that was rolled to the special calendar. And we will take up the special calendar at this time. It has been calendared 3 times and the sponsor is not here. So we will take it off notice and return it to the desk of the clerk of the House without objection. That concludes our business for the entire session. Members, it's been a joy to work with you on the Transportation Committee and do appreciate all your hard work. We've done some good things this year. We really have a great committee. I know we had some new members, but I've enjoyed getting to know each one of you and appreciate all of your contributions to all that we've been able to accomplish here this year. I believe somebody has to be, Chairman Hawk, you're recognized.
Thank you, Chairman Howell, and Chairman Butler as well. This has been a very well-run committee. It's been a joy to be on this with all the members. I think we've all done some really good work. We have a lot to be proud of. I think we've moved our state forward. Little can we forget that we've got a little funding issue out there for transportation that we're still trying to move across the finish line, and
We
the goal line here in the next couple of weeks too, as we look at the final discernment process of the budget. But I want to thank you, Chairman Howell, for your leadership of this committee. Thank you very much.
Thank you. Thank you, Chairman Hawk. Did I see another hand? Was it Representative Otto?
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. And I'm just going to echo Chairman Hawk's remarks. I've had the opportunity to serve on this committee for 4 years since I first came to the legislature, and it is one of the most efficient run committees, and appreciate your leadership. And we're glad to have Chairman Hawk with us on sub. Thank you.
Thank you very much. Anyone else have anything to say? All right, without objection, this committee will close subject to the call of the chair.